boys. My Lord Guthrum, once again, has given me the task of training you men to be prepared for next year's campaign. When we go against Alfred the Anglo, he's proven himself to be a worthy opponent before. We must be ready. This is war. Welcome. Welcome to my world. Welcome to the armory and the great hall where we practice. Well, my boys, get ready. We begin to train for next year's campaign. Be back in a moment. Back in a moment. Well, welcome aboard, my friends. It's January, it's minus 15 degrees outside, lots of snow. So we're here in the armory, and I'm going to teach you something that's very important this evening, something that you need to realize, and that is that shooting a bow is divided into two parts. One is your form, and the other is aiming. Form is not aiming. It's how you stand and how you hold the bow. And the most important part of it is to be consistent. Aiming is your sight picture. It's what you see when you shoot. Two completely different things. You see, if you took a bow and put it up in the sky and it started to shoot, all the arrows go to the same place. The bow wants to shoot to the same place. But humans never shoot to the same place. They shoot all over the place. It's because they're interfering with the bow, with the two little boys. They're twisting things. Now, the main thing about form is that it should be consistent, because this consistency will get you to start to shoot groups. When you can shoot a group, then you can begin to learn to aim, which is your sight picture and what you see. So, it does not matter if you anchor here, or here, or here, or here. It does not matter as long as you always anchor here, not here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. It has to be consistent. Also, it does not matter if you're holding your head this way or square on, or if you have an open stance, which is what I use these days because I don't want to twist my head. But you can stand sideways, that's okay. You can stand with a closed stance with your foot back the other way. All those things are just different ways of creating your form. They have nothing to do with aiming. They have to be consistent. Therefore, if you're a beginner in particular, I would suggest taking your middle finger and putting it at the corner of your mouth. You have to put it someplace. Do that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be here, or here, or here. So just take that spot for starts, and just stand natural. That's all you have to do. And then you practice doing that until you get so that you do the same thing, or close to the same thing, every time. Once you do that, you will find that your bow, depending on whether it's a center shot or not a center shot, will shoot either left or right. So when you become consistent, you begin to aim at the target and just see where your group goes. If you're using a center shot bow, like this type of bow, you will find that the arrow tends to shoot more to the right. But if you're using a bow like a English longbow, you'll see that the bow is 3/4 of an inch wide from the string, it will shoot to the left. So if you're shooting an English longbow and it shoots to the left 1 foot, you aim to the right 1 foot. It's as simple as that. That's got nothing to do with form. You do not have a group that goes to the left and then you start raising your elbow or lowering your elbow or standing this way or canting more or bending. That's not how you aim a bow. That's form. And if you do all these variations, you're just going to twist the two little boys and shoot someplace else. Your form is so that you can get a group. When you get the group, that's when you adjust the group until it goes onto the target. English longbow, shoots left, aim right. With this bow here, because it's center shot, it actually wants to shoot more to the right. So what I do with this bow is I point my arrow slightly to the left. With the English longbow, my arrow is way over there, about a foot or so to the right. With this bow, it's about 2 or 3 inches to the left. That's all you have to know. That's all you have to know. If you can practice your form until you get consistent, you simply adjust. It's called indirect aiming. You know, you just aim off however far that particular bow shoots. So it does not matter. You can shoot any kind of a bow with any arrow as long as you do that. You use a consistent anchor, a consistent form, and you simply see where that bow shoots. With any bow. It doesn't matter if it's an Asian bow or an Indian bow or a modern recurve or an ancient longbow. It's all the same. So that's the big secret. This is the thing I'm telling you. You get a consistent form. You get a group. You simply aim however far that group is off the other way. And you'll find that whether the bow is center shot or not, again, you just adjust that group and you can learn to shoot any bow really, really good. It's true. It's that simple. There's 2 parts. One is your form that needs to be consistent, and it doesn't really matter if it varies. As long as you're consistent, you'll get a consistent group. And your sight picture is what you adjust. It's your sight picture that you adjust. With the longbow, I'm aiming off my knuckle. With this other recurve, I'm aiming the arrow by aiming slightly off to the left. Either way, I'm not aiming directly at the target. I'm indirect aiming. Anyhow, I've said it a few times. Now you think about that, and I'll be back in a little while and we'll do something else. Okay. Okay, my friends. So I'm going to show you a couple of other bows that I have. This is a Howard Hill longbow, and let me see here. This bow is a Howard Hill bow. It says it's custom made for Gare chin, and the model is a Wesley Special. Now the bow is bamboo, and it has 5 layers of bamboo. It also has mastodon horn from Siberia. That's the tips. It's a very stiff bow. I find it a lot harder to string than ebb, my English longbow. Much easier to string because it follows the string. But this bow is stiff, it stacks a bit. The main difference though is, you see it has a shelf. Now I've taken a look, and the string is or the side of the bow is 3/8 of an inch to where the shelf is, 3/8 of an inch. Ebb is 3/4 of an inch, exactly twice as much. Now, with the longbow, with the English longbow, there's no shelf, and so if your hand varies even a 32nd of an inch, that makes the shot vary. Also, my glove is soft, so it wouldn't be as a consistent shooter as this. This bow will shoot in a straight line, even if they're not at the same height, you'll see that there's always one above the other. It's not like one here and one there. So, very good shooting bow. The thing, though, that I find is that I also have recurves, and I've had people asking me about recurves, So I'm going to start shooting this bow for a while. I like it. I've had it for about 15 years. And it's a Martin, and it's 60 inches long. It's beautiful wood. It's called the Dream Catcher. They have a little picture of a dream catcher on the side. And yeah, 60 inches, 45 pounds. And it is center shot. So if you take a look at the string on this bow, it really lines right up with the side. The big difference is the more the center shot, the more a bow will shoot to the right. So I'm going to shoot the same arrows, but I have to aim this bow with the tip of the arrow a little bit to the left. Whereas with this bow, being 3/8 of an inch off center, I still have to use my glove. But if you know that all you have to do is have consistent form, and you perform your form the same, you see where your group goes and you adjust, then you can go from a bow that shoots off to the left or to a bow that shoots to the right. Another thing that I find that's very important is these days I follow an old rule, and that is get your draw length and make your arrow not more than an inch longer than your draw length. It could be even less, but not more than an inch. So rather than fiddling with different spines and different weights and cutting off a 1/4 inch at a time till it goes in straight or trying to paper tune, simply take an arrow, get your draw length, cut it 1 inch longer, start shooting that arrow. Again, if you use indirect aiming and you have the same form, no matter how long that arrow is, no matter what that weight is, that arrow will start to group someplace. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether it's a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch, or how it goes through the paper. Not really. So you simply cut it so it's an inch longer, use the same form, find out where your group is, aim accordingly off that far, and you're right on. So that's an easy way to get your arrows. Anyhow, there's some more lessons for you. Okay, we'll be back in a minute. Okay, guys, so I've been asked many times by people, look at this feather. It'll shoot fine. But I've been asked many times, is it the same shooting a longbow and a recurve? Yes, it is. It's just that the sight picture is different. So, but the form can be the same. Also, you have to remember, form does not create accuracy. It's just the platform. Therefore, it doesn't matter if you prefer split finger or 3-under. That's a matter of form. So you can do that. You can do either of those things. One is not better than the other. You know, the form has to be consistent, but the aim is the sight picture. And you can only find that out after you've shot and gotten groups with that particular bow. Relax your right arm. Whether it's a recurve or a longbow, initiate the release by pressing forward. That's how you'll get a nice smooth release and your hand won't go flying all over the place. You got to practice for a while, but that's how you do it. It's a rotational draw also. You know, the arrow is actually starts pointing off to the left. It rotates on. So let's call it a rotational draw. But that's that point that you need to develop a sight picture, that the arrow will not be pointing at the target. It'll be off to whatever side it has to be for that bow. Again, if it's a recurve, you're probably aiming slightly to the left. If it's a long bow, you're probably having to hold the arrow slightly to the right. But you have to see that with your bow, with your own bow. And then, of course, you have to practice your form. Form needs to be consistent. Anyhow, I think that's about it for tonight. It's getting late, and I think I've shown you enough stuff. So yeah, we're going to start shooting a couple of other bows and ones like this, and we'll see how it goes. Anyhow, you guys have a good night. Have a good life. Be grateful for all you've got. It'll be okay. Talk to you later. Bye now.